Hello, everyone. We're back for another section, and I'm really missing you, having you in class again. Especially as I listen to myself on these recordings, I'm really missing having you in class and being able to do it face to face. So we're picking up with our final section for Chapter 13, Crisis, as we're looking at the first shots of the Civil War taking place at the end of this section. So let's go ahead and get started. So it all begins here with the election of 1860. We have two candidates coming from the Democratic Party. They were divided over many issues in these years leading up to the Civil War. And so the Northern Democrats put up Stephen Douglas, and the Southern Democrats will choose John C. Breckinridge. A third-party candidate from the Constitutional Union Party was John Bell, and then the Republicans in one of their first major elections put forth Abraham Lincoln. We all know where this story is going. But as we look at this map, you can see the breakdown of the election with Lincoln getting 40% of the votes. Not a huge number of votes over Douglas in this election, but where he really shines is in the electoral votes, getting 180 electoral votes in this section of the green, taking these major areas of the country and winning this election very decisively. So just kind of breaking it down in a different way, we have Lincoln winning all of the free states. New Jersey had 7 electoral votes at the time, and theirs was split, so he got 4 of those votes. Douglas comes in with only 12 electoral votes, but 29% of the vote, with Breckinridge taking all the cotton or the deep south states, and then Bell taking some of the upper north with, or upper south, sorry, for Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. After the election, we see South Carolina making the move to become the first state to secede from the Union. And so they do that with the passing of the Ordinance of Secession on December 20th, 1860. They could not stand to have Abraham Lincoln as their president, and so they make the move to leave the Union. Now, by February the 1st of the next year, 6 other states join them: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. And those 7 states together will form a constitution and formally become the Confederate States of America. They will elect Jefferson Davis to become their president. So here is Jefferson Davis. And as we look at the first state that secedes, South Carolina, and then the remaining here, if you think about South Carolina and then just kind of sweep yourself across the south over to Texas, has a nice kind of shelf area here, the first original 7 states that join the Confederate States of America. The first capital was in Montgomery, Alabama. In the midst of this, with the 7 states leaving to make the Confederate States, there was still hope. Senator Clinton and others are hoping to avoid war, so offering up whatever they could they extend the 3630 line into the territories, making all the land north of that forever free. They offered that as an option. They often also offered to protect slavery where it existed, not try to remove that, try to end slavery. But it does not get the support it needs. It's not getting the support, and war seems inevitable at this point. So where we see the first shots of the war is Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter is located in Charleston Harbor in South Carolina. As you can see here, its location was meant to protect the harbor. It was a very valuable harbor for Southern shipping. And so this fort is out here in the middle of that harbor, so it could be the eyes of everything that's coming into the city. You can see there's other forts here that are close by, but this was the primary one out in the harbor. So this is Fort Sumter today. So as the events start to progress, Major Robert Anderson is in charge of Fort Sumter at this time, and it was in need of resupply. And so he's being directed by the president to have goods sent in from Charleston to resupply the fort. But many people within Charleston are very concerned about that not just food is going to be going out here, but weapons would be too. And so when they hear about the provisioning expedition going out, there's a lot of worry that they're going to be tricked, and they start to prepare for fire on the fort. So we have a piece of the United States government here at Fort Sumter in the middle of a harbor of a state that has seceded from the Union. So a little piece of the Union within the Confederate territory. Now out on the shore is General Beauregard. He was actually the student of Major Anderson at West Point, and so now we have the student preparing to shoot at his teacher who had taught him how to do artillery. So kind of one of those strange things is all these people were one country, and then it just takes a quick action for them to become separate. And so Beauregard aims weapons along with the other forts on the coastal area around the harbor, and prepare to and do start shooting on the fort on the early morning, around 4:30 in the morning on April 12th, 1861. So for 34 hours, there is attacks on Fort Sumter as they shoot. The citizens of Charleston take to their roofs to watch this action and view the battle. There's still some camaraderie between the people as Fort Sumter is able to shoot back in some cases, and people are cheering them on the side. There's still, had only been a short time divided, so there's still some love between them. But Major Anderson, after this firing on the afternoon of the April 14th, and that afternoon they will surrender Fort Sumter. So as that surrender takes place, Lincoln calls up 75,000 troops from the Union states to prepare for war. And following this action, 4 more states will secede from the Union to make a total of 11 Confederate states. So added to that is Virginia, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. So looking at our map again, here's our original 7 states. And then we just kind of set those other 4 on top of it here. Virginia at this time still included West Virginia, so we have that whole block there. We'll talk about how West Virginia separates later on in our next chapter, but we see those 11 states making up the Confederate states. And so here it's another way just kind of seeing those labeled again. West Virginia is kind of already broken off there, but that kind of block of land is what we're talking about when we talk about the Confederate states. And so we'll continue to address that as we go into chapter 14 and the preparation and battles of war. So again, just some quick reminders. Remember to reach out if you have any questions, making sure you're checking your announcements and posts. That's the way that I can best reach you and send it out to everyone. So please look at those throughout the week. Even if you're done with your work, check in off and on, and checking also your assignments in your weekly folder. Make sure you can find all the pieces there, those resources. So let me know if you have any questions, and have a great week.